on that when I don't know what's going on, and even though you're telling me everything is fine, it's all like, I just want to see it for myself.
And this is so fantastic because I always say we do business with people we know and we trust, right?
Oh, yes.
Some people also say we do business with people we know, we like, and we trust. A lot of times people don't want to believe that. So a lot of people on the continent, they'll say, oh, I need an investor, I need a partner, I need this. They're so focused on what they need that they are not thinking from the perspective of the other person, that they have to position themselves as somebody that can be trusted, and they have to be ready to be accountable. I think that's one of the things you're saying here, is that they need to put themselves in the shoes of someone like yours. Like, okay, fine, if you want us to partner or invest in your business, like, we also want to make sure all we understand what the accounting looks like. We need to build trust over, and building trust happens over time. And
Oh,
yeah, and that's why I also tell people,
That's true.
like, the power of our network is when you start connecting with people and you start engaging with people, as the community gets, to know each other, you don't know that that's what's going to translate to commercial opportunities down the line. But a lot of times people start with, oh, I need commercial opportunities, I need somebody to invest with me, I need this, I need that, I need that. Like, people out there also need something, right?
mm,
So it's like you have to build relationships first. You have to invest time in meeting people, making sure people feel comfortable with you. And then when people then say, okay, let me learn more, accountability, it's huge. Like, what we wouldn't do, or what we wouldn't want other people to do, then why are we asking other people to do that? Like, if invest in me and then you don't want to give account. Like, how that doesn't work. So the example you're giving is you know it's so important. Thank you for sharing that story, because it's so important. The next thing that I would challenge you on, and I always say this in terms of how you structure the business. Sometimes people go into activities, commercial activities, but it's not structured from a contractual standpoint, from a legal standpoint. I'm one of those people, and me, Tema. I always push for structure, even with the work you do in Ghana. I always
mhm.
celebrate how you've taken that recommendation and you've taken it to the next level. So that's something I would say, do that as quickly as possible.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, definitely. I definitely want you to know I'm definitely doing the legal part.
awesome. Yeah,
Yes, it was just COVID put it on hold.
right.
Wow.
And then you also talked about, I always, I talk about due diligence. So she also, because I'm looking at this from both sides, right? So I talk about allowing the investor to do their own due diligence. So you just confirmed it. Like, just because somebody said, oh, here's my business idea, engage with me. You didn't just say, oh, yes, let's go, right? You had to do your own research. You took the business idea, you ran it through your own network, you crunched the number, you were like, okay, because that's the element of risk in, engaging with people, especially international traders. You're not right there with that person, right? So
Right.
even the risk even is higher than if you were doing a business right there where you are in your city. So that the reason this is so powerful is because I kind of stay in the middle. The platforms we have brings people from different backgrounds together. Part of what I'm also trying to do is to get both sides to see what each other's needs, so that
Mm-hmm.
transactions can happen. Because people focus on only their side, like, I need this, not realizing that the potential
Yes.
partner also needs accountability, also needs to do due diligence, also needs
Yes.
structure, also need XYZ. Otherwise, they're not
Mm-hmm.
dealing, right? Also needs to get to know you over time. So everything you're describing now is just why I'm talking about, even in the agriculture value chain, not everybody needs to be in the farm. People need to specialize in their own space, but partnership is key. But how do you partner with people you don't know and people that don't trust you? Like, it doesn't happen. And when we look at Trade with Africa, one of the major reasons that I personally believe the numbers are low is because people don't show up into networks. That's, people say, oh, I want to do international trade, but you're not in the network where people are talking about international development. Like, because the partner that you need is on the other side of the ocean. So that's why we
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of events to bring those people. You have to get out of your comfort zone and start
That
mingling in that world, because that's where things start happening. You start meeting like-minded people, and it's never overnight. Like, these things are
Oh no.
long term. So that's why the next thing I also want to talk about is long-term strategy development. Again, we're talking about the business side of agriculture value chain, because a lot of times people specialize and they're in the farm. The gap that we're seeing is that the commercialization of all of those activities and bringing those things to the marketplace. So for the business plan, I'm also assuming that you've thought out, say 3, 4, 5 years, where you want to be, like what resources do you need to put in place, whatever is coming out of that farm, how do you push it? Like you talked about, fish, the fish, someone selling fish, you now know who's going to consume that fish. How do you brand it? Is it just, it's still small scale, but if you start thinking 5, 6, 7 years, you can start laying the right foundation. Because if you begin with the hand in mind, how you build, how you engage will look different as well. Okay, there's someone that also wanted to join that actually works in the Ministry of Trade, but she's not able to. Let me see if she texted me again. She was having issues, but anyway, don't want to miss. Yeah, she said she doesn't want to miss the class. Let me call her and see what's going on. Oh, she works for the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, if she would join, that would be really fantastic, because from the policy standpoint of
Yes, we
agriculture.
really need to know. We really need to know what
Yeah, no,
Ministry
yeah,
of Agriculture is doing.
yeah, because I talked to her. She takes my my policy master classes as well. So myself and I, we talk a lot, because that's part of the. I try to bring all the stakeholders so that people understands. Like, she sits in a place where she also knows, not just knows, she engages with financing, like CBN, when they're whatever support they're trying to provide to people in the agriculture space, like programs, initiatives, whether a bank is doing like all of those SME programs. That's something that she sits right there. So she's a member, she's a
Wow.
member now. So because everything is connected, everything is connected. And that's why I tell people, like,
Yes,
when we talk
it's
about
really connected.
when we talk about the entire value chain, there are so many things going on. Like, if even for me, I've been in a training. We just wrapped it up today. The training was funded by the US government, by grants from the US government, and it's for women in business. So even as I am training other people, I'm also investing in myself and developing myself as well. The more I know, the more I can offer. The more I know, the more I can offer. So I'm not telling people to do what I am not doing. So when I tell people, get in the network, I am doing it for myself. When I say get into master classes, I'm doing it. Like, so that's why I'm trying to get every one of us that by the end of this year, I'm telling you, we'll be operating at a different level. So I'm so much, I just pray she can join. Otherwise, maybe I'll put her on
I
WhatsApp.
think so
I'll
too.
put her on WhatsApp. I'll be like, oh yeah, talk. We want to listen to you. Because that's the
Of
policy
course.
side.
Let's
That's
all
that's the
listen
government.
to you.
Yeah, I'll quiz her. Maybe that's the last plan B. I'm sure you guys, everybody could hear what she was saying, right? When I had her on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be
Yes, I could hear clearly.
my plan B would be to get her on and to ask her questions and then play it back in my microphone. If that doesn't work.
Questions.
Okay.
Okay, probably.
Okay. So thank you, Miss Tema. Okay, Miss Olasumbol. Like I said, today's training is so different. Adisa, welcome. Adisa joins
Thank
us from Kaduna.
Okay.
She's a fashion designer, but I also understand she's trying to play into the agric space. Adisa,
Yes.
is that true?
Yeah, that's true, especially the snail farming.
Okay. And you totally missed, Miss Tema's, she explained what she was doing, but I'll make this video available on the group
I'll
later so
catch
you
up.
can catch up on that, because what she described was really fascinating. It's just this concept of structure. Like, I am more, for me, that's why I talk about business development and commercialization. Trust me, we need expertise that understands farm practices. Like I said before, I went to an agric school. So we need zoologists, horticulture, we need all of those people. But when they do their work, the whole gap that we have in the value chain is farm to market, farm to shelf, value chain. making sure that these things are becoming more commercial, because that's how we can industrialize and grow more jobs as well. So that's, for me, is the key. So that's why I frame it under the umbrella of international business development. It's not just the technical expertise, but this is a, I mean, okay, maybe a video that I would recommend is Trade with Africa 2018. We had a lot of conversations around agriculture. So let me quickly summarize that before I bring Mrs. Olasumbo on. So the former CEO of Tyson Foods was one of our keynote speakers. Tyson Foods is a $40 billion poultry chicken business. So this is like the next level of agribusiness, right? Poultry, chicken. 1 in every 3 chicken, poultry protein products in the US is provided by Tyson Foods. So Donnie Smith spoke to us about what he's doing in chicken, with chicken in Africa. So that video is available for those people that want to explore. This is like big business, right? Like, this is not the small scale. This is like the future of, what could happen just with building a business around chicken. We also featured Westrock Coffee. That's coffee agribusiness, but it's also about market access, how they aggregate coffee from small older farmers and now package, roast, package it and sells it into the chain, right? So that's also big, the big business of agriculture. That's why I want our community to start thinking about it takes years, it could take 10 years, but if you have that as a vision, everything we do today can be tailored into, okay, we know where we're going. We're going to need to structure things differently, because a lot of times people don't structure their company in a way that they can even bring in partners or investors, because they're like, I want to do it by myself. Well, if we keep doing it by myself, that's just recipe for small. It can't go big. The people that do it big, they structure it differently, and those are the things I want us to start exploring. So there's chicken, there's coffee. We also talked about catfish. The then Consul General of Nigeria, Honorable Kayode Laro, he retired, and I believe they've brought him back as an ambassador somewhere else. But he was one of our speakers, and he talked about the demand for catfish in Nigeria. And there in Arkansas, they shared that catfish is something they've studied really well in Arkansas as an agricultural state. And the schools have a lot of programs around catfish. So those were some things they were going to start exploring between the state of Arkansas and Nigeria as a potential opportunity in terms of catfish, because there's huge demand for catfish in Nigeria. So those are content and video.
I'm on the right path then.
Yes. So in fact, one of the headlines that a journalist put in terms of the story of Trade with Africa in 2018 was catfish, coffee, and chicken, part of Trade with Africa, right? Because it was all about the agriculture value chain, but the business side of it, right? The business side of it, commercialization side of it, the market access side of it. So those videos are available on the platform. I believe everyone should have access to 2018 Trade with Africa. We're actually now launching the 4th edition, but I'll talk about that later. But okay, Mr. Olasumbo, please share with us what structure you have, what challenges, what you're struggling with right now, what gaps, and then we will see how we can support. And for me, it's also, I might poke and ask questions, because I want people again to think about business development, not just what we're doing at the grassroots level, but how do we take it to the next level?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Nazaro. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. So for my own business, the agri-value chain for our products is shea butter, and just like I explained last week, that we work with the women at the grassroots level. Because one of the things, the challenges we had at the initial stage was the quality. We were having inconsistent quality of shea butter from the women. So what we now decided to do was to, first of all, before we say, okay, before you want to help somebody, you have to help yourself first. You have to really understand it first. So we went for the training by GIZ. GIZ was in charge, or had a program in Nigeria then, but their mandate was only for 3 states. So we went for the training. We knew the nitty-gritty. So they now went back to the states that the program was not into, take on with the women. So I chose Oyo State because Oyo State is, apart from being my state, it's even closer to Lagos. So we now, these women, they were already into the production, the processing. So we now try to say, okay, if this is the way you are doing it, why don't you let us do it this way? If you do it this way, at least you're going to get a better quality and you can sell at a better price. So on the value chain, what we are standing for is quality control and assurance. How do we ensure quality? Because if we are going to, since we are having inquiries, business inquiries from abroad, we want to really be sure that, okay, if I sell something to you, if I tell you this is pure shea butter, then when you melt it, then you see it that, well, really it is pure shea butter. Because we have some that are really doing some fast jobs with it. Some will just mix it with some things, then you will not get the original shea butter. So we started with quality control and assurance at the grassroots level, right from the picking itself, right from picking the shea fruits in the farm, then to bringing it home, to the pulping, to the parboiling, cracking, doing all the processing before we get the final product. Then another thing that came on board was the traceability, because some were like, okay, how do you trace it? Are you sure this, if you're saying your shea butter is organic, are you sure? I said, okay, all the trees that we are using now, at least God has blessed us, they still grow in the wild. So we are sure that say this is gotten from this shea canals, they are coming from Oyo State, this is coming from Kwara State, this is coming from Niger State. So then sustainability. So to drive this sustainability, we now felt, how do we do this? If we are already some women, we have 1 or 2 cooperatives and they all a lot of others working singly, then we now say, okay, all of you that are working singly, and said, okay, buy my products, buy my products. We can't just be buying in circles like that. We really have to like gather everyone together. So we now gather them into groups and clusters. So these groups and clusters, even though some are only 1 or 2 are registered, those ones that are not registered said, oh, no worries, just know that, okay, this is cluster. Maybe you say, okay, their own cluster's name will be Iwajowa, some will be Ebe Olori, you know, that kind of, they just name that, even though it is not registered, but we know where each person belongs to. So when we now want to obtain this, so what we now did was that we are now trying to look for grants to build a shea processing center, because a facility, because the one they do now, the water they use is water, they use water from tankers, or maybe they go to the riverside and it is handcrafted. So though some cosmetic companies, they like this handcrafted, they demand for the handcrafted, but we felt that we need to move on from the handcrafting one, because shea butter is huge. They now use it in cosmetic, apart from cosmetics, they use it in food industry, those that are making chocolates, they use it in pharmaceutical for making ointments. Even at the local level, if their children are having cough, they just melt it and give it to the child, and even adults too, that mix with their tea. But if you're going to do something, use this shea butter to be ingested, you won't use the one that they got the water from well or from the riverside. So the facility we are building now, we have stainless steel machine, and it's going to have a water treatment plants. So, and there's going to be offices there. The production facility is going to be large. So we have started with this construction. We've gotten the architect. The architect has drawn the floor plan, and we're going to start the construction by end of this month, by God's grace. So so we can say we are aggregator. We are looking at, because most of these women, they say, okay, let us work together. We don't want a situation whereby we just say, okay, we are buying from you, then selling. Let us do these things together. Then we know we are part of you when we are together. So most of them said, which is what you're saying, so no, don't cheat us. If you do, okay, this is how much. After we have after we have prepared this thing, after we have processed it, this is the production cost. Okay, if this is the production cost, we just put a markup there. Then so it's going to be win-win for everybody. So the gaps that were along this value chain is logistics. Logistics is very, very key. You know, the drivers that we use at the community garage, that they come to Lagos. When they come to Lagos, they can only have a designated bus stop. I don't know if you know Yanakwaja. So if they are coming from Oyo State, they just have branch in Yanakwaja. So if we are to if we have to say, okay, I want you to take this product to NACO garage, I'm taking it to UK or I'm taking it to US. So we now need to look for another vehicle. They say, Yanakwaja is the last bus stop, or we're afraid of VIO and they're going to catch us. They're going to say, those kind of things that tire me. And I say, okay, we'll now look for another vehicle to now convey the products from that place. So sometimes I even use my vehicle. It was like, but is this still sustainable like this? For how long will I? What if I'm not in town? What if all my staff are not in town? What's going to happen? We should be able to have kind of a logistics in place that we can take the products from the factory side to NACO garage. Then the agents who is going to sort it out. Okay, this is going to US, this is going to UK. Okay, even in US, where is this? That one is going to Ohio, the other one is going to. So, an overview of what we are facing now, and I'm ready to take your questions.
Okay, so I also want to acknowledge the presence of Madam Fatima. She's a government official out of Niger State. So myself and her were talking of some things, and the reason I just now sent her the link, I was like, can you join this call? It's because of you, Ms. Olasumbo, because we are working on some things in terms of shea butter out of Niger, but you are working out of Oyo right now, and everything you just described with the work
Oyo and Kwara State.
Oyo and Kwara State. Okay, fantastic. So I acknowledge your joining us, Madam Fatima. Thank you. So I know this was just random. I do those things randomly, and and then Madam Kemi, who I've been trying to, she's not been able to use the Zoom to join us. Like I said, she works with the Ministry of Agriculture in Nigeria. I'll likely call her in. I'll see if I can get her to talk to us over the WhatsApp because she's still struggling. But she will have to watch this video afterwards because I mean, there's a policy side to all of these things. So thank you, Madam Olasumbo. So you talked about you being serving as an aggregator, the work you do with the women at the grassroots, how you're shifting them from just handcrafted, right? And you're now building a facility that would, treated water, all of those things. Quality being, you talked about quality being a major, major challenge, right? I know that in Ghana, they actually have all these certification processes in place. So before it actually gets into the US, they have all those certifications to make sure that the quality is to the standard. Because when they say it's USDA, certified, or FDA, all of those things, or organic certification, there's actually a real certificate that accomplishes those products. So it's not just word of mouth, it's actually certified by a body. So that's something to watch out for. It's that quality certification because it's when you have that certification, it brings you premium in the market, right? Versus than just saying, oh, this is shea butter. But when you talk about the certification,
in fact, sorry to cut you. In fact, last year, just before the COVID, around that February, we attended under the She Trades program from Lagos. I went to Abuja. We attended the training from EcoSat, from NISAT. So NISAT trained us on the EcoSat, organic certification, the USDA stuff and everything. So it is part of our plans to incorporate it into this facility. Right. So upon completion of this one, in fact, I even spoke with them like last week or 2 weeks ago. So they now said, okay, whenever we are ready, they are ready to. That I should share the training with my staff and with the women, so all of us will be on the same page. So as they now come there, they ask the questions, then we are on our way to get the certification. So
Fantastic.
thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I do. Ask Tema. That's what I do. I keep people. That's why I tell people when we are on this network and we're all moving. I push people to say, okay, have you done that? Just the same way I did for Miss Tema now. So the other thing is that you know, the women you're working with, their accounting practices is something you have to help them with because they might not have the level of education that you
Okay.
have, right? Because even Scott Ford, that's one of the things he did in the coffee supply chain. He actually incorporated personal development for for those people, because a lot of time when you give them that money, they make it and they spend it so fast, like, you know, and they're struggling. So part of this whole program in terms of women empowerment, you know, what they are producing is one thing, but you almost have to start supporting them with some type of family develop, like there's just some things, because if they get better, they'll start delivering better results to you. You know, they'll make your job
To you.
better
Of
over
course,
time,
of course. So
right?
easy
Right?
over time.
Exactly. So sometimes there's also this lady Akola project in Uganda. Part of one of the things she started developing, because I heard you talk about in your building plans, you have creche for the women. They started even developing like maternity programs for the women. Some of the work,
Yes.
you know, this, so I completely understand that. So I'm just putting that out there, that you are really, really moving in the right direction. So your women empowerment program is fantastic. In terms of improving their productivity, it has to do with education as well, accounting program. And then you talked about logistics. I personally feel that that is an investment play on your side, that eventually, depending on the volume you're talking about, you may start having to say, maybe in a year,
Okay.
2 years time, how do you get your own vehicles in place? Because it's a big
Okay.
constraint for you right now. Because one of the things I do with my one-on-one coaching members, I ask them to conduct a SWOT for their business or for themselves. So SWOT is, sorry, SWOT is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you
No, I'm
conduct,
listening to you.
oh, okay. If you conduct it for your
Opportunities and
business,
traits.
yes, you would say, okay, we are strong here. This is what we are strong in. Relationship with our cooperatives, we are strong. What is the weak spot? The weak spot is with what you just described. I'll put in transportation and logistics. If you've identified a weakness, you now have to say, what are we going to do with this weakness long term? Right? Because you can't keep operating this way in lean,
Okay.
you know, you can't, it's not sustainable, especially when your volumes
It's
start
not
growing,
growing.
right? So part of what potentially you might explore doing is, what would it take us to buy a vehicle for ourselves? What is the cost? How can we know it's going to be expensive, it's additional cost, but how do we bake it in? Do we need to go borrow? If we borrow from a bank, and that's why I need to get this lady on, because we need to tap into some government initiatives, CBN. She's always telling me some of those things they do at the agriculture ministry in terms to support like some financing that might be lower interest rates for agriculture
Wow.
space, right? So I'll still call her and try and tap into her knowledge as well. But if you now do that accounting to say, okay, maybe over time we can pay back this cost, what does that do to our business? So I don't want you to just see it as a roadblock. When you identify it as a weakness, the next thing as a business leader is, what am I going to do about this weakness? Do I need to get financing that over 5 years? What value will it bring to our business? Will it save us life? Would you save us this headache? Because that's part of your own growth
Time.
opportunity. Yes. So quality,
Yes. Yes.
logistics, women empowerment, and I think market access is also something. You already have relationship, but
Market access.
like I tell Adisa, start where you are, but plan to grow. Because the more you structure it, then we can make more introductions for you. But I feel like also being able to tell the story in a polished way will bring you more attention, which is the final thing I'll say.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Okay.
That's why, remember I sent you the videos of this other lady. You see how she packaged everything.
Yes, it package everything. Yes. So
I'm telling you, and at the it's packaging at the presidency level of United
yes.
States presidency. They are talking about our work at the presidency level in the
Wow.
US, about the work she's doing in Ghana. It's all packaging. You saw the
Can
videos, the
you imagine?
women.
Yes.
Yeah. When I tell people about this, they're like, I'm like, that's the game changer. That's the next level. We are doing the work.
That's good.
But if we want to get credit for it, we have to take it to the next. So those are the things I will point out as something to consider, because market access is one thing, but just before you start pushing market access, the story and then your negotiation and your pricing model, I'll tell you, Ghana is beating Nigeria because
That's
of
it.
the pricing and logistics to land the land.
Seriously, how do we go about this thing?
Let me call my
How
expert
do we go
and bring
about
her.
it?
Let me bring her in.
Please, call her.
Then she couldn't join us
this
first.
this discussion, we need to have this discussion today.
Today. Oh my goodness.
Yes, so
I hope she.
how do we go about it? So,
She also said they took light, NEP. Oh my dear. Pick up, pick up.
God.
No, we will. She's on the platform now, so don't worry. I'll get her in.
Okay,
Because,
good.
yeah. Because I mean, like we talk a lot, like even. Okay. I'll keep trying her because. Okay. Hello, dear. I have you on speaker again.
Okay.
Man, you are missing, oh. Seriously. Okay.
Seriously.
Okay, so I want to loop you in. They are listening to you. I put you by my microphone, so I think, and I put you on speaker. So I try to introduce you in a way like the work you do, but I can't do a good job of it. But we've talked. Wow, we've talked about one thing. We just talked about now is share value chain. Miss Olasumbo, who is also on the platform, you can connect with her offline. She just talked about the work she's doing at the grassroots level. You remember you and I always talk about grassroots implementation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's actually living it out. She's empowering women. She's working with cooperatives. She's helping them hands-on. But one of the things we just also want to tap into is what resources are available within, like, what would you recommend people, where would you recommend them to go to start getting their hands around resources that helps from a ministry standpoint that drives agriculture implementation at the grassroots? I know it's a lot of questions, but what would you just advise us on?
Well, I advise them to have an hands-on, as in they should have their business set out uniquely, and they should be in cooperatives.
Okay, they are in cooperatives, so she's serving as an aggregator to the cooperatives.
Okay, once they are in cooperatives, they can access loans from the CBN.
They can access loan from the CBN.
Loan from the CBN, yes.
Okay.
Lots of trainings and advocacies through CBN, NISAL, and all of that.
Okay.
So once they are in the cooperative, because the cooperatives, in the cooperative, they guarantee themselves. So it's not if somebody takes a loan and the other person is like, oh, sorry, it's missing. No, you cross guarantee each other. And that gives the bank that is releasing the fund that security that, okay, I'm going to get my money back. So most times it's always very difficult assessing it. But once you have your items on ground, your audited accounts, cooperative, then the number of times you attend the meetings, those are some of the things we look into. Because I was part of a team that disbursed about 10 million to our cooperatives then while I worked as a microfinance officer at the FGN IFAD Rural Finance Institute program. So those are the things we looked out for. The accounts. Some people say they don't want to use the account, but right here now you have to start using the bank. Then that's true that we can monitor your savings. How do you manage your funds? Then cooperative, if there's any fund, they should have a register. What do they really do? How do they do it? Yeah. The monitor, this gives us the edge for us to monitor them as well. So they should do a business in a proper way, not that, okay, I'm doing business. No. Because what you should do is have a long-term goal of what you are doing. And not just do it play it small. No, don't play it small anymore. You have to do it. But I realize that these are small, medium scale businesses that have to grow over time. So despite growing over time, you have to just put everything in place. You have to be registered, have a bank, especially the cooperative, use your bank, use your cooperative members, team members. There should be teamwork amongst the cooperative. You should attend meetings. These are some of the things.
What are the, if I may ask, what are the terms of the loan? Like, what are the terms? Give us an idea of percent. Like, I'm sure it will be lower interest, right?
Yes, it is single digits.
Wow.
The one we did for our Action Research Partners, it was just like free because we had it.
Wow.
Guaranteed by NISA.
What's NISA? Spell it out. Spell it out.
NISA.
NIRSAL. Nigeria Agricultural Incentive. I can't really pick what NISA is.
Risk sharing agricultural lending.
I'll just put it out there. NISA.
Okay.
The guarantee loans. We put some money there, which was grant from IFAD, which was used to guarantee our Action Research Partners, just to test run it and see it. So now NISA is doing a lot of good job now. Assessing funds, people assess funds through them, and they always do this guarantee. If you are taking a loan from the bank, NISA will guarantee you and say, okay, we have the history of this person who can help us. But since the project ended, no one has really thought of going back to NISA, but they are well established now.
Okay.
They're well established because we threw out that as a partnership through IFAD and CBN.
Okay.
So once CBN is about disbursing the loan, NISA gives a guarantee of what CBN is disbursing and the percentage. I can't recall right now. And the percentage of what NISA guarantees, it should be rate of 10. You have NISA standing for you while you pay back gradually.
Okay, you pay back gradually. So the term single digit is fantastic for Nigeria.
Then another beautiful thing about it is that if you're able to do it once, by the time you are paying back, I think you have probably 50% of what you've taken. It's 3 years now that we've ended the project, so I can't really put up what, but I'll find out time to see what is currently happening in those sectors. So that you can have one or two things.
What other, right now with the landscape, are there other incentives out there for agriculture? Like so much. Where do we go to find, to leverage those things? Like, you know, like that's the key. What one thing I'm trying to get the network to see is that the value chain, we have to look at policy, we have to look at support, like we have to look at end to end, because a lot of time people are operating in silos, but they don't know what's going on out there. So that's part of, go on.
My exposure at that project made me know Nigeria is working.
Wow.
Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria is rich. You know, you don't really know what is happening, but when you go to the villages, you now see what is happening. You say, wow, this is right. You see trucks, about 50, 100 loads of trucks taking food out of the villages. And like, wow. So this is actually happening here. And the amount of money that is generated, oh my God, is in abundance. The farmers need to, we just have to find a way of drawing our policies well. And I think the private sector has to start doing so much now. You can't even leave it in the hands of the government again. You have to start. That is why I like this, your drive. You know, you drive me a lot. And you inspire me to do more and say, okay, now, what can we do? How can we begin? The first step is this cooperative of a faith. If there are any farmers within, like she is with this sheep butter now, they have a cooperative. They should ensure that they are registered. The cooperative ministry, I think it's seated. I can't really know if it's still seated with us, because there was a tussle then that I should go to the Ministry of Commerce trade and investment. So I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if it's still.
My dear, this is your assignment, though. You know, I told you there's so much, so much assignment for you. We have to break this thing down. We have to break it deep because what's going on is information is power.
Power.
And the people who have the information, they are laughing to the bank.
Seriously.
So how we will map and document this process so that our members can understand what the underbelly, how Nigeria is working. It's working for some people, my dear.
It's working.
Yeah, at least those of the microfinance institutions that in the cooperative, some got 5 million. The list was 5 million, some got 10 million, and they were able to establish. What we did then was build the capacity of this microfinance so that we do a rural inclusion. The bank to get banked, the cooperative will get banked, and we have a say of saying, okay, this is how we are doing it. This is what we are doing. This is how we will do it, and this is what our timeline is.
Okay. Wow, this is fantastic. So this is not the end. I personally, we have to map it out, like, because under AFCFTA, you know, you and I with the training and everything, AFCFTA implementation is also something we now need to start looking at which driving, which bank or which financial, who is going to finance that implementation, because our activities now.
A lot of banks, from my personal, you know, that have been like, okay, this after, how can we come in? You know, I used to be a banker, and they've been asking me, this thing you people are doing, the banks are already agitated. They want to come in, but they don't really know how to clean.
Wow.
You know, where it is domiciled and those issues right now, I think probably over time, it cannot be covered again.
So trade financing. So trade financing program. So trade financing, because all of this is international, regional or international trade financing, right? So those banks, do they have particular desks that we need? Because I when it comes to the continental level, Afrexim, right? I can ask those questions. But particular inside Nigeria, as an example, do we need to bring them into this conversation?
Probably yes.
Okay.
So that they will now know, okay, this is where we can. In fact, she will be so happy because they've been asking this issue of after. We have been hearing it. What exactly is happening? We want to come in. Where can we come in? How can we come? I think all you can do is lend money to people that need to do it and how they can do it.
Yeah.
Let us.
That's what banks do. That's what banks do, and they would say, "Oh, we've supported AFCFTA. We made this. We issued this."
Want to make that noise and be the first to say yes, we are doing it.
Yeah.
Then others are following.
Yeah.
So if we bring them in here, I know that will be fantastic, and that will give them more knowledge, more understanding, more exposure to what it really is. Because don't let me lie to you, a lot of people are still in the dark about this after. A lot of people are still in the dark. They don't really know how it's going to come up.
Okay. Wow. This is.
We really have to do a lot.
Okay. This is great. So 2 assignments that we have then. One is let's map out, government support, government and policy support in the agricultural value chain. Like those 2 things. That way other people can start understanding how to leverage these things, like so that it's not in the dark. Then the second thing is, let's maybe offline, you and I, we can talk about the introduction, maybe just an introductory call, and just to gauge and assess where they are at, and then introducing myself, what we do, the platform, because this is the biggest banks are already, like Afrexim is actually on the platform as well. We actually created a private group for them. So at the continental level, we know what's going on. We know how the banks are supporting in AFCFTA. So now it will be Nigerian banks. What are you putting in place to add?
The banks don't even know how to follow, because the issue of locally now, the AFCFTA is still covered. It's taken inside the room. They are preparing the soup. So it's not yet, rolled out publicly. That everybody in the villages can even tap their hand and say, okay, want to key in. So the soup is still cooking now.
Okay. Whereas Ghana is already shipping. No, Ghana is already shipping.
That is it.
Ghana is shipping. We are cooking. They are shipping.
We are cooking. Well, we just hear stories.
Okay. Oh, you did you hear me? I said Ghana. Ghana is already shipping. On that. Okay. Okay, we have work to do, but this is fantastic. Do you have any question for anybody online? I know they could hear you, but you couldn't hear them. But you know, we work on. Hey, yeah, sorry. Miss Tama also spoke to. She's in the US. She's African American, but she's also investing in Nigeria. So she has.
I'm honorary Nigerian. Thank you.
She's an honorary Nigerian.
That's good.
So she's actually active. She partners with a farm in Nigeria. They're doing fisheries. They're doing, you know, pineapple. They're doing different. And she talked about it. But you watch the video after. But this is yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I tagged her when you had welcomed her, and I had said a little bit that I had the small scale farm.
Okay, so Tama said she tagged you on the platform. You know, when we welcomed you on. So our spelling of her name is Tama, and the last. Yeah, so in the group, like you can DM each other and make introductions, and that's, I mean, people are connecting and doing work together. So awesome. So any other questions for the group? No. Okay. No, the fact that I didn't start this class hurts me so much. No, don't worry, my dear.
Don't worry.
No, don't worry. We are together. So this is something we're all growing. There's so much.
Of course, it's an ongoing thing.
It's an ongoing thing, absolutely. Okay. Thank you, No, thank you so much. We will.
Thank you
so much. Really appreciate that. Okay. God bless you, dear. Okay, now. Bye. Stay blessed. Yeah, bye. Okay. What do you guys think?
Wow, that's good. So, in fact, last year, October or so, EcoBank had Agric Summit. So the MD of NISA was there. NISA is Nigerian Risk Sharing Agricultural Lending. So, and I got some contacts there. I think I'm going to go back to my contacts now and just ask them what they are doing in that sector. So thank you so much. I think this really reminded me that, okay, since I have a contact in NISA also, so I'll just get in touch with them to know what's up. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. And
thank you.
For me, there needs to be also more transparency with all of these opportunities, because the people, you know who kind of, you know, they're the ones like sharing and caring.
So those that were not there now, they won't know that NISA is doing something there unless you are there. Yes, talk about transparency and let people know what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I have a question, if you don't mind. Sorry, I came in a bit late, but I'm interested in hearing what the kind of work, I don't know her name, the lady with the cooperatives is doing.
Okay, yes.
I think I came in when you mentioned something about water treatment systems. And,
okay, Miss Olasumbo, can you? I know you've gone through it again, but please, can you just quickly, because that's the work.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, if I can just have some kind of introduction, background. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Mrs. Adeleke Olasumbo. So I'm into shea butter processing. I work with the women at the grassroots level. So
this in Shaki?
Our organization, not me personally. We train them on there. No, we're in Sede, not in Shaki.
Okay, but still Oyo State.
Hello.
Is it still Oyo State?
Yes, in Oyo State. Hmm? Yes, it's in Oyo State. Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So we are now like, because presently, the shea butter we are getting now only goes to the cosmetic industry. So moving forward, we want the shea butter, since the food industry now need it for making chocolates and margarines and other stuff like that. And even in the pharmaceutical industry that they use it for ointments. So we are now looking at, okay, having a shea processing facility. This facility is going to have stainless steel machines and water treatment plants. And you know, for the handcrafted, they can only use water from the well, or maybe they get a water tanker to supply them water, or go to the riverside to process it. But with this water treatment plants in the facility and the stainless steel machine, the product that they are going to, the shea butter they are going to produce is going to be premium quality, and they can be supplied to not only cosmetic industry, but also food and pharmaceuticals. So that's the project we're embarking on now.
I'm just curious about this issue of quality, because okay, maybe I should just introduce myself a bit. I'm in the United States. I'm DG of the United States Commodity and Export Promotion Agency. So historically, my agency has been the one sort of responsible for the share value chain in the state. But you know, over the last few years, it's been a bit obsolete. So I'm having to do a bit of restructuring. I've just been there for like a year. So I'm just trying to go right to the beginning, you know, form them into proper cooperatives. But this issue of quality, I mean, what I did when I first came, I kind of just sampled around the various villages, the butter. And again, apart from the FFA levels and, heavy metals, there was this issue of, fungi and bacteria levels were pretty high. So what I'm curious about is, I don't know if you've done similar research, like, is it the water, quality? Is it handling? Is it, because I've been told sometimes if they don't pick in time and the nuts are just lying on the ground, that could also sort of add to the bacterial and fungal levels. So yes. I just wanted to done such research.
Yes.
Yes,
that's true. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, in my own opinion, yes. In share, to determine the share quality, share processing itself starts from the nut picking. We advise them to pick within a day or 2 days. So, and even when they are picking, if you are picking at the third day, you don't pick the ones that has been eaten by rodents, or the one that is molded, or the one that is the black ones. You pick only the good ones. Once you pick the good one, definitely when you process it, you get good results. But if you pack everything together, of course, rancidity can come in, and you have high FFA and stuff like that. As per the water, just like you said, that you have high lead contents. All this water, you have the different water table. You can get lead, zinc, so many materials inside the water. So the water you get from the river, you can't compare it with a treated water or the water from the well. So those are the things that add to the quality of water itself.
I'm also curious, is it worth introducing filtration units, ultra-high filtration units to some of these centers? I mean, what exactly does that filter out? I don't know if you've... we have some, we have some people investing in ultra high filtration, equipment, which is just, it's like a series of metal plates with like some kind of cotton cloth in between, and they run the melted butter through, and it filters out all sorts of things. I just kind of wondered if you have that in your facility.
No, we don't have that yet. But even with that, instead of running depends on the market the butter is going anyway. If it's going to cosmetic markets, fine, they can use it like that, or maybe have some kind of treatment they want to use for it. But if your butter is going for the food, you can't just use any water for the processing. So that's how it works. Of course, that kind of water can only go for, even there are some customers that demand for handcrafted shea butter, so they can supply their butter to those customers.
Okay, so for you, it's all about the water quality and just training around collection.
Yes,
and handling.
Yes, and handling.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Fantastic. I'm looking at time.
But sorry, let me quickly chip in something. I think last year or so, UN Women had a program on the shea butter thing, because they contacted me, was it in 2019 or so? So I gave them some materials on the machines and everything. So they had some program. They had a program in the community, UN Women. Are you aware of that?
Yes. My agency is the implementing partner in Niger State. So we just ran it up phase 1 in December. We trained the women on value addition. Cooperatives were trained on soap making, and the entrepreneurs were trained on cosmetics making. So we just ran up phase 1, and we'll implement phase 2 this year. I think part of it is to upgrade an existing center, but we're also trying to see how we can expand, on the scope of the project. So I mean, we are working closely with them, but again, as a state, as an agency, I believe in just because of the increasing demand now. For me, I'm very focused on sustainability of supplies. So that's why I'm going back to the women. In fact, so much so that I've been told, you know what, there's all these Fulani women in the forest. They're the ones that actually they're the beginning of this value chain. They pick the nuts from the bush, and they pass it on to the outer village women, the Gwaris or what have you, before the middlemen get it. So I'm like, okay, should I work my way right to the Fulani women? Because they're also the ones cutting down the trees. So honestly, I think that's also an area that I also want to focus on, this area of sensitization, of cutting down the trees, because it's a clear and present danger. And also, I don't know what your experience is with the GSA, but I don't know, are you planning to put this video on your Facebook, on your YouTube?
We have a platform, so
page?
I think we have a
Let
network.
me be diplomatic.
Okay.
Yes, because I wanted to say that.
Okay.
But I find maybe I should say
maybe you have to censor some things.
Okay, got it.
I just wish, again, I wish we'd definitely be more proactive in trying to access some of these resources to assist with whether it's sensitization or reforestation grants, or sensitizing these people in the forest. That's also what's like a worry for me as well. Really, I don't know what's going to happen in 5-10 years if we continue as we are. So I think that's also something we need to focus a bit more on, this area around the supply chain, really. So.
Right. Yeah. Before we join too, I was trying to also share. It's the same issue, not just in Nigeria but beyond. And part of what they've also done, like I was saying, Mr. Lasumbo, is that you have to start empowering those women, because the more you empower them with education, accounting practices, the more they can perform higher. Your job in the long term will be easier. It's like how do you also upskill them? So that's what I've seen done in Rwanda. Is that, if these people are the lifeblood, they are the quote unquote supplier of your commodity, you have to start the human development aspects of wherever they are, whether they are in the bush or wherever they are, is that we now have to start making sure there's clean water. We have to look at mortality rates, because the women, they care about their children. In fact, part of the studies and it's part of those videos I was referencing. Remember, I talked about coffee and catfish and chicken. The investments they are making in Rwanda, it's also coupled with human development. They even teach them, they even study that even when they make the money, they studied it to the extent of how do the women spend the money. And they found out that one of the things they do is they send their kids to extra school, like not just the regular school. They start employing extra teachers to invest in the kids. Then they also start buying sweets and chocolates, so they actually, right. So it's not just that they're bringing them into cooperatives and training them. They actually now start putting programs in place to upskill them and to increase their livelihood, right? They might not go from village to the city or overnight, but they actually improve their way of living, their standards of living, by creating more access to their product, but through things like, it's just education. Like they just do some programs for those women as well, because the more those people can get better, your job long term will be better as well. So that's what I was sharing earlier about finance, because they even started teaching them, you're leaving a legacy for your kids, because some of the farmers are aging, right? They are aging. How do they make sure that they see it as something they can pass on to the next generation? So they start teaching them some things as well, because everybody then grows together versus just, oh, give me your shea butter, bye-bye, right? So programs are put in
I think
place.
what we're also looking at doing is, I think there's something they're doing in Francophone West Africa as well. I think we're trying to promote additional, well, I mean, it's all about keeping more value, in local communities. So we're looking at additional derivatives. For example, I know the shea fruit is wasted. I think they're turning to jam and juice in Francophone West Africa. I think the shells are being used for charcoal. I mean, that's also an area we're looking at to do this year. And it's something that came out from the UN Women Training. So that's also an area, because for me, it's if these women are not getting value from this resource, then nobody else is going to get value. That's my feeling, because like just immediately to cut down that tree is worth $350 in their pockets immediately. So that's why we have to ensure these women know, look, this is a valuable resource. It's not just butter. There are other things you can get from this tree, even down to the caterpillars that eat the leaves on this tree. There's value. So that's also an area we're exploring.
Yeah, it sounds also, like even if from a framework standpoint, this also sounds like something they're also, Morocco is doing it with argan oil as well, right? Where it's a major livelihood, and it's also used in the cosmetic industry far and beyond. And like last year I had part of the stories we featured was Morocco as an investment destination. So we have contacts there. So our network, one of the things with this network is like when our members tell us, okay, this is what I need, within our network, we can pull people in that will just say, okay, this is how we're solving it. This is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing. And that's the power of the network, because everyone is trying to solve something major. And part of the drive and part of why I'm pushing people is we can solve it all together and we can learn from one another. And we do have the powerful landscape and network to bring those things in as well. So, and it's a journey. It's not overnight.
Yes,
it's not overnight.
So no, I believe that. So that's why I'm just trying to see, okay, how can we start on the right path? Fantastic. I'm not in a rush. I just want to make sure we just get the foundations in place. And as I keep telling people, I may not finish it, but I want to get it started. So
yes. Yes, fantastic. Okay, because of time, I see, Adisa, are you still able to quickly share with us before we wrap up today? Next week, Friday, we're doing, it's almost going to sound the same way, but it's my office hours. Like if you have questions, challenges that can help you solve, that will be next week, Friday. And I know Miss Tema is always coming up with something, right? So Adisa, are you still there? Are you still able to talk to us before we wrap up?
Yeah. Sure, okay, I am.
Sanuma. So assume nobody knows you here. I know I know you, right? But assume nobody knows you. So introduce yourself, introduce the benefits, what you've gotten from the network, what you're looking for, what you're working on right now, and what you're looking to work on.
Okay. My name is Hadiza Yakubu Wanka. That's the family name. Probably Fati Ushishi. Your name sounds really familiar. Yes, I think I know some of your family members as well. I'm in Kaduna State, but
I think it's another Fatima. I get this all the time. It's another Fatima Ushishi. So
okay. All right.
Nice. But Adisa, you're originally from Bauchi. Is it Bauchi?
Yeah, Bauchi State.
Okay.
Yeah, Ningi local government. Yes. And I'm a fashion designer, and I am also looking at becoming a snail farmer as well. I have high interest in that as well. But for now, the fashion, I'm a kids fashion designer, and so far so good being on this network, this community, Nazaru. I think I joined shortly after a few days from becoming a member of Nazaru community. I was able to start up my contract. Like it happened just almost immediately, and I am forever going to remain thankful to Auntie Tony and Tama. Thank God she's here. Tama, thank you so much, because she actually responded to the quick call that and the quick link that Auntie Tony brought between me and Tama. She connected me with Uche, and Uche happens to be my first client. She's based in US, Texas precisely. I'm currently wrapping up her production, about 3 collections for kids wear. I'll be done by next week, and I'm shipping it down to her, Texas. And then today she saw another design, like the tracksuit, on my page, and she actually mentioned that I should save that design. That particular design is going to be our next contract, and it's coming up very fast, so I should take note of that design as well. So I am really overwhelmed. And then the production of the face mask, I actually made 8,000 plus, in fact, because I'm still on production. I have more production on face mask. Yes, and like when you were talking about training your team, I think the number of people that I have taken from the grassroots to form my team, really I have to go and source for more people, because everything is just.
So you're hiring more people now?
Yes.
To support the new opportunities.
I can't even wait till I'm done with the training with people that have started training from the grassroots to form a stronger team, and then to be able to meet up with the demand.
Yes. And I told you as well, it's going to keep, just don't rush yourself too much. We're going to keep pushing a little bit. The more you stabilize. Do you also want to share what how I supported in your catalog process? What has that done for you?
That catalog, there's something about you being pushed a little, because I actually never thought it was going to be that easy. You said I should give it a try, and I was like, I'm like totally green when it comes to anything IT or the social media itself. I don't really know so much about it, but then I said, let me do it and see. And then I actually was able to come up with the catalog within a week. She advised me to try it, and I tried and submitted to her, and I wasn't expecting to get that response from her, because she was like, it's perfect. And then I sent to Uche, and Uche said, I have actually made everything a lot easier between me and her, because she's always going to go back to that catalog and select her designs and push back to me for us to come up with more production. Fantastic. For her own CDs were, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Because that's what I talk about, rules of engagement. It's not enough so one step
and
is
it can help me to on another platform, SheTrade Commonwealth.
Nice.
Because there's this Dubai 2020 Expo that is coming up. It's going to be like it's a virtual fair. So I use that catalog as well.
Wow.
Yes.
To showcase your products.
Yes.
Fantastic. Because one thing I say is step one, network, but the rules of engagement, like the expectation of the international market, if you can just upskill and package and present it, it's like people see you differently and people can engage with you. But if you just say, oh, I have this, they're like, what is that? What is your price? You also worked on your pricing, right? I talked about price, your tiered pricing. How did you structure that?
I had
volume, right?
Yes, because then before I started this like kind of mass production, I was finding it quite difficult to come up with the pricing. But then you advised me to if I'm producing in higher numbers, then I shouldn't
reduce the price. Yeah.
Yes, I should reduce the price, and which is working out, because like in Kaduna State, where I am now, where the business is situated, like Salah is coming in a few months' time, and people actually get their kids Salah outfits before time. That's something that they try to solve, because they can't wait till that festivity period to come. So like the discount that I'm doing, because I know some people would want to produce and sell towards that Salah period. So that pricing has really helped as well.
good. That is
Because I've given the opportunity for them to come, let me make the production for them, and then they will do it at affordable prices, and then keep and sell when the time.
volume because
Yeah.
when you calculate your overhead, it's the same number or the same. When you look at your overhead, if you can increase your productivity with the same number
It
of
does
people, you're going to make more money.
500.
Sorry.
Like if I'm producing 500 dresses, and then the price is something that people won't even look at, like, but to me it's something. They'll be like, wow, she's had her price is fair, it's reasonable. Like,
it's
before
a
you do it, I
volume.
can get 4 people that would come for 500 production and above. 5, 6 people, yes, and then they sell.
So I love what you're also doing on social. So keep that up, and then just also be monitoring your capacity, because the signal I'm waiting for, I'm going to be watching out for you is, can you, because I don't want to overwhelm you. So I know you're moving really fast because I'm pushing you, but just know that there are a lot more people that can come to it's going to be your capacity now. That's one thing you're going to start thinking through that lens of, what can I produce? What capacity did I produce last month? What can I push out this month? What would I be able to do next month? By July, you should have increased your capacity maybe by 20 to 30%.
20%. Yes. I'm working on
it. So 20 to 30%. So that the more you can now increase your capacity, you can now go and get more, because you never want to come into the market and make a promise that, oh, don't worry, I'll send it to you until this time. Like normally people do in Nigeria, come and collect your clothes tomorrow. The person shows up, you're like, sorry. That is not acceptable. Like, no.
Yes.
So yeah. Sorry?
I said this to quality, and then like show it at the right time, like keeping up with
exactly. So so just know that the opportunities are there, but we will push you when you are ready, and when you grow, we'll bring more people, you grow you. And the same thing with Uche.
But the idea of this grassroots training, because we have a whole lot of youths that are idle, doing nothing, and then I have decided to go back to my hometown, select people that I know have interest and are ready.
That's it. And then if you can, and then if
that are done with training today.
And then if you can even start getting your government to see this work, because I always look at this thing from all angles, right? You're now doing meaningful work. This is what it means to employ youth. You're now creating employment for other people. That training, could we get your government to come and finance it? So let's start thinking. That's why I try to shift the way we think. If you can start thinking along that line, like you are now a business owner operating at the international level, no matter how small, people might still be looking at you. Is it not that small? No, don't allow them to look down on you. You are operating an international business now. Okay. So your local government needs to be seeing that you're now employing labor, and the more work you do, you're going to be able to employ more. So now we need to start saying, okay, how can we get more of your policy people to start seeing this impact of your work and making sure they can support you, they can celebrate you, whatever they can do because at the end of the day, you're still a private sector, right?
Definitely.
So that's what I would say. Start thinking along that line. Start building some type of relationship with your policymakers and start telling the story. I've shared your story a few places here and there, but I think this is a story that I see you have so much potential, so much potential, but I don't want to overwhelm you as well. But I'm sure by December you're like flying. So I'm super proud of you. And then you're also exploring on the platform. Some other people have started introducing you to snail and all. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yes, that snail actually. I started like it's my favorite actually. I love snails, and then in in the northern part of Nigeria, most northerners don't eat it, but I love it. I take it a lot. So and knowing the fact that some people love snail, northerners they love snail. Some people love it, but they don't know how to prepare it. They don't know how to wash it and then prepare it and then consume it. So I said, why can't I start something like that? So I was able to come across a snail farmer here in Kaduna. So, and he sells at very fair prices for me, different sizes, which is quite affordable than me going to the market. It will be more expensive for me. So I prepare it and then I send it to people in Abuja, Kano, yes, and then
yeah. And then how is your mom doing? She's doing better, right?
Our mom is today. She actually bathed herself and she put on her makeup. She was at the kitchen.
Oh, awesome.
By the time I was,
awesome.
yeah,
and then finally, you had talked about a lady. Was it on the platform that reached out to you and asked what's available in Kaduna that she was going to source from you?
Yes.
What's that product? What's category?
Soybean.
So how is that conversation going?
Yes. And she's connected to Tama. Tama, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Who's connected to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Francisca.
Oh yeah, Francesca. That's the young lady I was speaking about earlier. That's my business partner with the farm in Nigeria.
She does business. Yes.
Okay.
It's like I'm connected to so many fashion people. I guess that's one thing I found out, that a lot of women I know that live in Nigeria make clothes, which I love it because I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
I get to make some clothes.
But what we now need to do, remember, business development. Right? So people can produce one, but can you produce 5? Can you produce 10, 20, 500? And can you produce it consistently? You know, with Black Panther, a lot of African Americans, they were looking for Afrocentric outfits. They couldn't find that volume. And they were buying swords from China.
That was our main thing. But when she sent me the stuff, I ended up keeping it for myself. I couldn't sell nothing because I wanted it all for myself.
But there's still a business. Like,
so we'll try to explore that out again.
I have a ton of fabric. I'm doing some stuff too. But I think for me, because of where I'm coming from, I see the commercial aspect of all those things, not just the 1 and 2. Because the work I used to do before, people buy 1 million pieces, 2 million pieces, and then they produce it over a year. So I know where this needs to go, but I'm also saying, let's start where we are, but let's start standardizing, right? So it's standardization. This is how the international market operates, even in the apparel industry. I used to manage apparel strategy for Walmart. Like, you know, you lock down your buying 9 months ahead. Okay. So if you're talking to a buyer today, they're talking about 2022 production.
Long term.
Yes. Because when you close that deal, because of the volume, you say you want 2 million pieces, me to produce 2 million pieces of this orange t-shirt, I cannot produce it overnight. So I need that 9 months to even produce the first shipment. What I then do is I break down, they call it WBS, like your work breakdown structure. What are the components, the zips, the buttons, the wool, the color, different things? Where is it coming? Because you're going to import those things from different markets. Just one button could literally mess up your supply, right? It's your zip, it's this. So you're buying it in volume. You need, before they ship it to you, it might take you a month. So that 9 months is what people use to standardize. So anyway, it's a very complex thing, but my own biggest lesson is because when I left, I was like, Trade with Africa, let's go. And then I was like checking who was following. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I actually have to teach people. Yes. You know, I actually have to grow. We have to grow into that space. Meanwhile, when I came, I'm like, let's go. Do you have how many can you produce? I'm like, no, I've had conversations. Buyers are like, Toyin, go, yeah, bring it. I'm like, I will be right back. We are not ready for that volume. We are not ready. Please go on, my dear.
Before I started this Uche's production, I had to make a few samples for her to see the quality and then the finishing, like the standard of my work.
Wow.
Yes.
You have that's it. That's it's these things. That's, I mean, before you buy, like, anyway, to me it's not, but my conscience, like, I'm now learning how to be patient.
It's
like,
so comfortable now.
Yeah, now like, I'm like, calm down. Go on, please.
Like I said, she's so comfortable. Like, because she has already seen what the work is, like what my product looks.
You also remember the initial coaching I gave you. When I saw your product, I said the positioning of your product is not everyday attire. Remember what I said?
Yes.
That you need to see, like you were before then, you were trying to serve everybody, and you were kind of frustrated that people around you weren't buying everything. I tried to say, I said, wait a minute, these things you are producing is special occasion outfits for children. From a marketing sales standpoint, you need to rebrand and go after a different type of customer. And then you took that training of business development with customer profile. Did that help?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
Because now you won't be chasing the wrong people to buy
because
something.
I still maintain that I am still with the luxury kids wears. Yes.
Yeah, special
but
occasion.
If you want me, like for Uche, because what I'm producing for Hannah, it's more on the
everyday.
Like yeah.
Wow. Okay, guys. So time has gone again. Next Friday. I'm sorry. Go on.
No problem.
Does anybody have? Yeah. Does anybody have more questions? This is something. I mean, that's why we are all together. There are so many more people, like you all know, on the platform. Tema, our next Trade with Africa 4th edition is coming up. Maybe I'm going to recruit so many people this time to spread the word. But it's going to be 2 days packed. We're going to talk about Latin America, Africa, UK, Africa, US, Africa, like what's happening around the world with Africa as well. Different sectors. We'll cover agriculture, manufacturing, women empowerment, youth. We'll also have country pitches. So we'll have representatives from different countries tell us, what trade and investment opportunities are available and how do we want to work with them, or what are they needing, investment promotion, export promotion. So it's all of those things that those who follow our work know about. But more information I'll be sharing it over the next couple of weeks. But thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Madam Fatima. I know it's just an impromptu. Ms. Olasumbo, welcome again to the network.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, same time next week, Friday, would be more like an office hour. So more like challenging whatever you're facing, whatever question, because this is like a group. That's next week is going to be like a group coaching. I know today's training, like I told him, like it's so different. Usually I use PowerPoint, but this conversation, I didn't want it to be structured because agriculture is such a vast space. I'll follow up with the government, Ministry of Agriculture. I'll stay on top of that because we do need those information and resources.
Yes,
people to know what's going on. There needs to be more transparency and visibility so that people know who to talk to. It's not just, oh, are you connected to Mr. Chief? Anyway.
Thank you so much.
It goes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else before we end here? No, thank you so much. I know there were so many other people. Usually people may not be able to join us. They watch later on the platform. So we'll see what we can do. But thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and keep sharing your wins. We celebrate you. This is a platform that celebrates you, and we do want you to absolutely win and flourish on the international market. God bless you all.
Yeah. God bless you
so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye.
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 Bye.